speakers. The discussion today is going to have here with us in person. And I'll introduce them briefly in order because I think we're very well known to all of you. We're going to start with Masih Alinejad, who is of nature for everyone who knows her, journalist, human rights activist. She's likely going to be followed by Prince Reza Pahlavi. Known to some of you as Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi, known to my friends as just RP. And whatever title you want to use, he's okay with it. He has been doing this longer than anyone as an advocate of secular democracy in Iran for the last 4 decades. Hamid Esmaeilion is known to all of you. He is president of the Association of the Families of the Victims of PS Flight 752. Hamid is also a novelist and a dentist. And last but not Nazanin Boniadi, a renowned actress and most articulate advocate for human rights and democracy in Iran. So we will start with the videos and then we will move to our addresses in person. Thank you so much.
به نام زن، زندگی، آزادی. در آستانه 44مین سال تأسیس جمهوری اسلامی هستیم. انقلابی که با قتل مهسا در خیابان شروع شد مانند قطاری است که به راه افتاده. این قطار سر ایستادن نداره و ایستگاه آخرش سقوط رژیمه. مردم روز به روز خشمگین ترن. اگر این حکومت بی‌لیاقت ستمکار 43 ساله که بر ما ستم میکنه، به خاطر این است که ما همه یک دست نبودیم و همچنین ترسی که به دل مردم انداختن اگر این حکومت برود چه میشود. و سوال من این است اگر این حکومت بماند چه می شود؟ همه جور این حکومت رو دیدید. اصلاح طلبش، اصولگرا، رای دادیم، رای ندادیم، قهر کردیم، آشتی کردیم. کدام سال بهتر از سال قبل بود؟ عمر ما جوانی نشد. بنابراین سلام کن. الان وقتی این نیست که بخوایم بجنگیم، به روی هم چنگ بیندازیم جمهوری بهتری یا سلطنت. شعار انقلاب چی بود؟ فراموش نکنیم. زن، زندگی، آزادی. ایران کشور تنوع و تکثر قومی، ملی، فرهنگی، زبانی، مذهبی داره. بنابراین حفظ یک پارچگی سرزمین ایران با قبول و احترام به تنوع و تکثر مذهبی، فرهنگی، قومی خواست همه ماست. عبور از این رژیم جز با اتحاد و همدلی امکان پذیر نیست. اختلاف ها رو بذاریم پای صندوق رای. الان فقط یک چیز مهمه: چگونه از شر این رژیم خونخوار و جنایتکار خلاص بشیم. و میدانم که موفق خواهیم شد. این خواسته همه ماست. دست در دست به سوی آینده بهتر می رویم. برقرار باد مردم ایران، آینده ایران.
به نام زن، زندگی، آزادی. روزی که ژینا را کشتند کردستان مرعوب نشد، سکوت نکرد، بلکه به اعتراض به پا خواست. حجاب اجباری را آتش زد، خیابانها را به تسخیر خود برآورد و با این کار الهام بخش انقلاب برای آزادی در سراسر ایران شد. برای دهه‌ها جمهوری اسلامی روایت دروغینی از مردم کردستان ساخته و پرداخته بود و با زدن انواع انگها جوانان بیگناه ما را اعدام میکرد. اما فقط طی چند هفته در انقلاب زن زندگی آزادی قلعه دروغ رژیم فرو ریخت و کردستان نماد همبستگی و عامل وحدت بخش تمام ایران و چشم و چراغ همگان شد. ما برای اینکه سرزمینمان را از چنگ جمهوری اسلامی در بیاوریم، از زاهدان تا کردستان تا تهران و دیگر شهرهای زخمی ایران باید همبسته و متحد بمانیم. همه ما خواهان برابری، رفع تبعیض‌ها و عدم تکرار هر نوع ستمی در فردای ایران هستیم و با پذیرش تنوع و تکثر، احترام به هویت‌های گوناگون در ایران دموکراتیک فردا امروز در کنار هم می‌ایستیم. تنها دشمن مشترک ما و نیرویی که کمر به نابودی همه ما بسته جمهوری اسلامی است. ما ثابت کردیم که انقلابمان انقلاب همدلی و همبستگی است و آنچه همه ما می‌خواهیم دوستی و آزادی و برابری است. برای پیروزی باید همبسته و همدل بمانیم. نوک پیکانها در سراسر ایران باید ژن ژیان آزادی.
سلام، من این ویدیو رو میگیرم از طرف خودم و علی کریمی. شما ما دو نفر رو سالهاست که میشناسین. جایگاهی که امروز من و علی داریم در واقع به خاطر لطف بی‌دریغ و بی انتهای تمام شما عزیزانه. ما سیاستمدار نیستیم ولی امروز صدای شما رو با تمام قدرتمون فریاد میزنیم، انعکاس میدیم، تنها صدای شما رو. نه سهمی از این انقلاب و نه جایگاهی. سهم و جایگاه امروز از آن مردم ایران، مردمی که 4 سال گروگان گرفته شدن در این حکومت. ما تنها انعکاس صدای شما هستیم. امروز فصل مشترک و هدف تمام گروه ها با هر عقیده و مرامی از گروهی اگر عقیده یا طرحی برای گذار کمی نقش جمهوری اسلامی داره میتونه مطرح کنه. در غیر این صورت مطرح نوع حکومت برای فردای ایران یک نوع خیانت به جانباختگان و زندانیان دربند در درون ایران حساب میشه. همه ما امروز وظیفه داریم حول محور سقوط جمهوری اسلامی عمل بکنیم و این موضوع اتحاد و انسجام همه ما رو تضمین میکنه. مطرح کردن ایده ها و افکار شخصی در این زمان حساس پیرامون شکل حکومت فردای ایران ما رو قطعاً به سمت پراکندگی و واگرایی سوق میده. اگر همه ما به مردم سالاری و دموکراسی پایبندیم، انتخاب فردا رو به زمانش به عهده مردم خواهیم گذاشت. اون روز نظرهای ما یکسان نخواهد بود، ولی این معنی دموکراسی و آزادیه و جمهوری اسلامی تمرین دموکراسی و آزادی رو به ما یاد نداده، به خاطر اینکه تمام این 44 سال برنامه‌اش این بوده که بین ما تفرقه بندازه، ما رو با هم بد بکنه و خودش حکومت بکنه. ولی این زمان رسیده که ما خودمون دموکراسی و آزادی رو تمرین بکنیم. بنابراین هر کس یا هر گروهی به شکلی عمل کنه یا صحبتی بکنه که سبب اختلاف در اپوزیسیون بشه، داره به طور عمدی یا سهواً خیانت میکنه. ما میتونیم به 4 اصل پایبند باشیم. یکیش اتحاد و همبستگی همه افراد حول فروپاشی ملاست. 2 از خودگذشتگی و عبور از منیت در مقابل رأی اکثریت. 3 واگذاری انتخاب نو و شکل حکومت فردای ایران به رأی اکثریت. و 4 تشکیل و به رسمیت شناختن شورای گذار. این شورا نه سهمی خواهد داشت نه هیچ چیز. این شورا فقط در واقع داره راه مردم رو هموار میکنه برای گذار از جمهوری اسلامی ما هنرمندا وظیفمون الهام بخشن خط و مشی دادن نیست و اینکه صدای شما رو با تمام قدرت به بلندترین شکل فریاد بزنیم، انقدر هماهنگش بکنیم که این صدا بتونه دیوار جمهوری اسلامی رو بریزه. این کار ماست و اون کاری که من 4 ماه دارم سعی میکنم انجام بدم. و در اون روز انتخاب، وقتی اون روز انتخاب میرسه، ما هممون یک چیز رو نخواهیم خواست، ولی اون روز زیباترین روز ایران خواهد بود، به خاطر اینکه برای اولین بار ما دیگه به خاطر تفاوت‌هامون با هم نمی جنگیم، بلکه تفاوت‌ها و اختلاف نظرهامون رو جشن میگیریم. در نهایت این مردم هستن که انتخاب خواهند کرد، نه ما. و تا اون روز هدف همگی ما تنها سرنگونی نظام و گذار از جمهوری اسلامی خواهد بود. زنده باد زن، زندگی، آزادی.
زن، زندگی، آزادی.
Woman, life, freedom. In the name of woman, life, freedom. All these people that you see here, the voices you heard, we've had meetings for togetherness and creating a charter in the name of unity for freedom of Iran. And soon this charter will be given to you. This time, this is the text that we have written, and I will be reading this for you. I am a little bit stressed for the first time, and I confess. Before we start, I wanted to express our sympathy with the people of Khoy and the people of Turkey and Syria for the fearsome earthquake, for these deep wounds. On the 16th of September last year, the 25th of Shahrivar, the Iranian calendar, a 22-year-old girl named Mahsa Amini, who had traveled to Tehran from Saqqez just because of her the regime in Iran murdered her. And we remember her funeral, that her name will become the code for our revolution, and that became so. Name of Jina became the code for a huge revolution to Tehran, to Balochistan, to Mazandaran, Kermanshah, Isfahan, Khuzestan, Lorestan, Gilan, across the country, with a deep revolution joined with this revolution, a revolution that became famous as a revolution of women, but was supported by men, and it's still alive. The entire country of Iran considers itself the part of this revolution. Women stood up against discrimination. Men from Kurdistan to Balochistan, from Khuzestan to Azerbaijan and Balochistan, everyone wants their rights. Laborers, teachers, and pensioners are speaking about their violated rights. Low-income families speak about social freedom, and religious minorities and atheists are seeking truth, and they are seeking their rights. Sexual minorities, gender minorities, and speak about oppression. Athletes and movie makers, they don't want to be instruments in the hands of the regime that normalizes crime. In the revolution of woman, life, freedom, diversity became a rainbow of Kian Pir Falak, a rainbow that rose from the bottom of the hell of the Islamic Republic to the skies. The Islamic Republic, however, responded to these people with gallows and bullets. The Islamic Republic killed more than 500 people, shot at the eyes of young people to prove that it had not killed one person, Mahsa Amini. Iranian people did not remain silent. They, in many cities across the country and in cities outside Iran, they stood up and poured onto the streets in solidarity. The world heard the voice of our modern revolution and bowed in respect. From the first days, the word solidarity, like the word, like Mahsa Amini's name, became a spread in the name of unity and against a common enemy, the Islamic Republic, the regime of Islamic Republic. And from that day, activists, Iranian activists across, inside Iran and outside Iran, they began to work to find a way, parties, different factions, to bring the end of this regime possible. But for unity, we must agree on minimal principles. In the days that the Iranian revolution is preparing itself for bigger waves, we are working to complete this charter, to put it in a joint charter. A charter that can include all the demands of the people, something that relies on the Declaration of Human Rights, something that relies on equality and accepts the territorial integrity of Iran and reaffirms decentralization of power. Principles that represent all Iranian people and echoes the voice of the revolution of woman, life, freedom. A charter that can prevent the reoccurrence of the past tragedies. Now this charter, we're getting closer to the completion of this charter, and we're hoping to produce it by the end of February. And alongside this, we think the efforts of foreign governments to isolate this regime. We also want the freedom of political prisoners so that they can act freely. These are our main objectives. We all know that the fall of the Islamic regime is not only going to free an old civilization into a free nation, but will also bring peace and security to the region. And countries like Iraq, Syria, and Venezuela, and even in the heart of Europe, and even in Europe, Europe will be clear, will be obvious. The world must prepare itself for a day without the Islamic Republic. We are here to speak about that day, to say that the people of Iran are seeking a freedom and democracy. They want a government that sends the message of peace instead of terror. We are here to tell that the country of Iran will be a safer place for Iran, for women who will no longer suffer from discrimination in the name of woman, life, freedom.
Hello, I greet you all and all the beloved people of Iran, particularly those families who over the past 5 months have lost their loved ones unjustly, and have joined those freedom fighters who over the past 44 years have been searching for the truth and who have been seeking the implementation of justice. I will speak very briefly at the beginning, before the other friends. I will say that this revolution, I consider this revolution based on four principles: freedom, true justice, social justice, and environmental justice. Everybody represents this revolution in some way. Women, students from Kurdistan to Azerbaijan, from Balochistan to Mazandaran, all are seeking equal rights. Students, sexual minorities, laborers, teachers, artists, writers, sportsmen, all are part of this revolution. And of course, those seeking justice. Those justice seekers who want, after the Islamic Republic, to create commissions of inquiry so that all the crimes of the Islamic Republic, going back to Cinema Rex, to the murders of the 1980s and 80s, until the Green Movement, the student movements, and after that, December of 2017, 18, and then the flight, Ukrainian flight, those who've been tortured and murdered. It is expected that the truth will come to light for all Iranians, and all the wounds of our land will be healed. I will end my talk now, and I will ask Ms. Boniadi to proceed.
Thank you, the University of Georgetown, for making this meeting possible, because our revolution is a global revolution. Please allow me to say a few words in English in respect for the people who are here.
And I'm very proud and honored to be sitting with my friends here and those you've seen virtually to set aside any differences and unite on a common cause, which is democracy, and a secular democracy and plurality for Iran. Young 9-year-old Kian Pirfalak mentioned a rainbow before he was brutally killed by the Islamic Republic. And to many of us here, that rainbow represents plurality, the type of plurality he was denied, and the people of Iran continue to be denied. So our gathering here is just a start as we come up with a charter to hopefully have a unified guideline and ideas moving forward towards secular democracy. And it will hopefully lead to a larger movement with more people based on maximum support for the Iranian people and maximum inclusion. Again, things that have been denied to all of us for 45 years. And I hope that this can be the start of something that brings sustainable, substantive change to our homeland.
My fellow countrymen, in these 42 years of fighting for the freedom of our country, I just want to say one thing today. I hope that all of you will think about this and the experiences of the past 42 years. This is not just limited to Iran. It is also seen in other countries. Basically, I see two classes or categories of people in the world. The first are those who still hold on to hatreds and are part of the problem and resist. They resist any kind of collaboration, and I have nothing to do with that first group. The second group are those who want to be a part of the solution, who want to work together, who know that in many areas they may have differences of opinion. And this difference of opinion does not mean enmity. if the basis of our work is based on those who want to work for a better future, for a common purpose, a common destiny, the time has come now to consider our priorities, to put aside our differences, and to think about the basis of our goal, which is freedom and pride and the governance of our people. We must work towards it in the hope that that day, the day when our country will be free, every citizen in Iran, whatever their intellectual or religious or ethnic background may be, they should know that they will be equal before the law and they will be able to live in perfect freedom and work towards constructing Iran, that they will all stand together. This is our message to our fellow countrymen and to the world. The time has come to put aside slogans, to roll up our sleeves, and to begin our work. Thank you.
Islamic Republic press conferences. This is meant to be an exercise in democracy building. So there's no questions which are off limits today. And I look forward to all the questions from the journalists, the many journalists in the room. And I'll start briefly with a question for all of you, and you can feel free to answer in Persian or in English, whatever you're most comfortable with. But let me start with Ahmed Jan on the outside, which is there's a lot of Western officials in particular who are skeptical that this revolution is still alive. How do you respond to them?
If I may, I speak in Farsi.
Because in order to see whether the Islamic Revolution is alive, this revolution is alive or not, we have to look at the past experiences, particularly the contemporary revolutions. Our land has experienced at least one revolution in the past 40, 50 years. And all of us know that revolutions have ups and downs. It doesn't always move. It not happen in 2 months or 2 days or one night. Sometimes revolutions can collapse, can fall, but then it returns with higher waves. There is a certain place where the change becomes inevitable, and that is there is no turning back towards the past. I see this change in the December of 2017 when protests passed beyond the borders of the Islamic Republic and was no longer within the framework of the government. And there was talk of transitioning from the Islamic Republic. The Islamic Republic thought that by killing people, it could stop this movement. It's the only weapon they have. They respond to everything with weapons. And in November of 2019, they tried to suppress the demand for justice and the quest for freedom. And they shut down the internet, and they killed 1,500 people. They slaughtered them in Iran, from the marshes to the streets, the different provinces, different cities. There were protests, and they dealt with them unmercifully. The people were no longer afraid, however, and if the people were going to be afraid, in the past 4 or 5 months, we would not have seen people on the streets. We would not have seen the students in the streets. We would not have seen the women at the front. The fear is gone. The feeling that we will not return to the past exists in all of us. I think it would be very simple to think that this revolution, that the people have now passed beyond this revolution. No, the people are very angry, and they're waiting for the next wave. And the next wave will come, and it will be heavier. And the activity that we're doing these days, maybe there will be calmer days, but that's because people are planning and organizing for the next waves. I think that on 16th of September, when this happened, the opponents of the Islamic Republic were not prepared. But we can use this opportunity to organize, to plan, so that when the next wave of the revolution comes, and the intervals become smaller, all of us will be ready. We will all be ready to transition away from the Islamic Republic. Thank you. Masih?
How are you coordinating with forces inside the country for the strength of this movement? به انگلیسی به فارسی میتونی پاسخ بدین.
I would like to say one thing first, and that is this revolution is not dead, but the regime has fallen. It is dead in the hearts of the people. But in the world community, we face this question. They think that if the people are on the streets, this is a revolution. And we have a responsibility to tell the world that a revolution has many different forms. And one of the forms is when people are on the streets. But when people come to the streets, then the government shoots at people, rapes female prisoners, and when they threaten women with rape or shoot at their eyes, when they arrest the families of prisoners and they bring them on TV for forced confessions, when they execute protesters, we must tell the world that the revolution is alive. And if the people are not in the streets, it is